Hey guys, what's going on? We're still in cosplay because we were actually at WonderCon this weekend. Didn't even get a chance to change before we started watching the episode, and a lot to talk about. The first thing we're going to talk about is this interaction that's going on between Rick and Michonne. Their relationship seems strained again, and it seems primarily because of the fact that they're just both grieving, and they kind of grieve in different ways.
Well, no, Rick's the one that's keeping his distance, not the other way around, number one. He's all cleaned up and Michonne gets it, so while she gave him some distance and kind of backed off, she didn't actually leave the room or accuse him of any particular thing, as
which is good. She handled it the right way.
Someone else may have done. But yeah, I mean,
he opened up too. I mean, after she kind of backed off and gave him some space, he started talking about it all on his own. He's just one of those people who if you pressure him, he just clams up. He has to be the one who makes the decision to start talking about it. Otherwise, he just can't. Which I can relate to.
Well, she wasn't even necessarily trying to talk about it. She was trying to give him some food and fix his wounds. She's trying to feed and take care of her man, and he was being all, like a man and being dumb.
He wanted to finish this project. I can relate. Let me finish this first.
Gotta eat some food.
I've said that to her. How many times have I said, "Let me finish this first" to you? 1,000 times. I do the same thing.
And then it's just be me over here.
Sometimes focus and do some stuff, and things.
Even if it's dumb. We know.
Speaking of Rick, my God, I mean, the beginning of showing him the way that he busted into the hilltop and stuff, and was
I like that. I mean,
Bruce Lee style. He was doing kung fu moves and shit. He was dodging punches and taking people out with one swipe. That was sick.
I just wish it hadn't been as dark. I anxiously anticipate some fan doing a lightened version of the same scene where we can see a little bit better.
I'll do it. What I'll do is right here in the video, I'll take that clip and insert it and lighten it up so everybody can see what we're talking about.
Okay, because I enjoy Rick's his I don't know, this rampagey moments or whatever.
It kind of reminded me of No Way Out in season 6 when he walked outside. It was another one of those things.
Ran out of bullets. That's okay. Hacha!
He wasn't even out of bullets. He just wanted to do it.
No, he did. The clip was empty on the gun, and he tosses the gun.
Still the python though.
Oh, he didn't want to do all that.
He was just nah, I'm just gonna slaughter them with my bare hands. Yeah, that was really interesting. It was a good Rick and Michonne episode. What are your thoughts on Michonne and how she's doing right now?
I mean, they just don't have a minute to take a breath, and I know eventually the Andre thing is gonna come. It has to. Or at the very least, the conversation about Carl. I thought it was very brief. I have to say I'm disappointed that the hand-holding scene from last week was cut, because, like I said before, Richonne is the last standing relationship with the ZA, and also the most important one, obviously, because, even though they're at Hilltop, it's still Rick's story. So, them having, quiet moments or talking moments or just, something more, I'm glad that this scene was there, but, give me more. I know that scene was cut short, too. I could tell. I could tell it was chopped.
Probably.
It's that's not how that would just naturally... That was a natural ending to a scene. So I do take issue with that as a Richonne, but also from a story standpoint. Because, again, as this is Rick's story, Michonne is officially an extension of him, and therefore their interactions are important to what's going on in the story. It's integral. So cutting it short or feeling this is the fat that needs to be cut from this episode is bullshit. So that's just, I'm going to be frank. You could have cut down raggedy ass Tobin scene, could have cut down dumbass Henry scene, and made that, a little bit more shorter, a little bit tighter. You don't have to cut Rick and Michonne. That's not fat, ever. That's muscle. You're cutting muscle, and I don't like it.
I didn't feel like they cut that scene short, though. I felt like the last thing that he said was the last thing that he had to say, and that it would have been long, awkward silence after that.
No, because she has a response. She doesn't just stand there and listen you know, she's not a wall. It's an interaction. There's a dialogue.
But it didn't seem like what he said though. I don't feel like he said it like to get a response. I feel like he just said it as an explanation.
Well, no, I mean, just to respond, like, he was focused on his little side project, whatever. Okay, fine. But to me, it seemed like he was also at the same time trying to avoid her presence, or at the very least avoid looking at her, very poignantly so.
Yeah.
That to me is a conversation. Where's that conversation? Where's that dialogue?
Well, they'll probably do that later on. I feel like they kind of like planted the seed for it, and then like they're gonna have some kind of a conversation later on about like why he's been acting so weird.
Yeah, like, you know,
I think it was more of like a suspense building than it was like cutting it short.
Well, they definitely cut something last week.
Last week I agree. I'm talking about tonight's episode.
Tonight's episode, I just need more of them. Like, you know, there's still aftermath and stuff that needs to be dealt with. And even if they get it out all in one scene, if it takes, you know, 5 to 7 minutes or whatever, that scene is pertinent to the story. And, you know, I get about, you know, editing down and cutting things that are necessary, but Rick and Michonne will never be fat, so you don't need to cut anything from them. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying that not just as a Richonne fan, but also as, you know, a person who loves story. As a storyteller myself, like, I'm not going to cut my main character's scenes down for what? For Tobin. It's just not going to happen.
Well, they probably were like, we're killing him off. We have to give him like some good screen time.
No, they didn't.
I'm sure that's like what the logic was behind that. They've done that they always do that. Like on the last episode before somebody dies, they always do that. He wasn't
like a real character. And they didn't do that for Spencer.
He wasn't, and I thought that, like, well, now we're getting into like a different video, which we'll do later on, but I don't know. Tobin was a weird character, and we'll do a video specifically on how weird.
Rick is greater than Tobin.
Oh,
Michonne
for
is
sure,
greater than Tobin.
Of course.
Rick and Michonne is greater than all that. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I think that like it's pretty clear what's going on between them, and I think there's probably going to be a long conversation about it towards the end of the season. As we only have 3 more episodes.
It's only 3 more episodes left. Like, there needs to be like a huge moment or something with them, and they need to discuss things. Like, they haven't really had enough time to discuss stuff.
I want to see a scene where they grieve Carl's death together, and not like under the duress of walkers, like, you know, descending upon them. They have to like use the fire extinguisher really quick on the gazebo. Like, I want like them to like be sad, like where they don't have to worry about dying, because that's when like actual grieving happens. They haven't really gotten a chance to take a breath yet. And like, you know, all the best dialogue in the show always happens when they're not under duress. So hopefully they do something like that, which I think that they will, because honestly the dialogue in this episode and last week's was probably the best that I've seen, like, of all of season 7 and 8 so far. There was a distinctly different tone, like writing wise, with this episode and the one before. So I have faith that we're going to see that interaction between the two of them.
I think it was 3 writers for last week's episode.
Well, they did a damn good job.
I don't know I didn't pay attention to who wrote this week's episode, but
we'll look it up and we'll put it on the screen.
It seems like it works lately a little bit better when there's more than one writer
working
on the script.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a really good job. Like,
Which is good, yeah. Because, I mean, even as a writer, if it's your job, like, or if it's your passion for these characters or whatever, you're not going to be passionate about everybody, right? So someone who, say...
You have to have somebody who is passionate about that character to write good dialogue.
You can't have somebody who's just passionate about Tobin do Rick and Michonne justice. Like, you got to have a Rick and Michonne writer.
Yeah.
Have a Daryl, Dwight, Tara writer or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, have writers that can cater to these characters. And I mean, you, as a screenwriter or playwright, whatever, you should be able to serve all characters equally. But that's only true if they're your characters. And if you're writing for someone else's characters, you need to have someone who's at least in the room to say, no, Rick wouldn't say it like this.
Right.
Daryl doesn't talk like that.
Exactly.
You know, Rosita would never do X, Y, and Z.
You gotta, like, imagine how difficult this is. I mean, like, this is an ensemble cast with, like, what, 10 main characters at least? Maybe 15?
Not main characters.
If you're writing for a character, like, you have to, like, imagine that you're them. and that's how like you decide what they're going to say from an emotional standpoint. It's very difficult to do that for 10 different characters.
And to also keep in mind that there is still a lead character amongst the sea of characters. While there's a lot of mains, there's several main characters, there's still one lead, and that lead is Rick Grimes.
Yeah. And
so don't shortchange me on my Rick. That's all I'm saying.
Well, they did shortchange us, but they also wrote some really good dialogue, though, like realism-wise for him and her, and I think that's a good change because we really haven't seen a whole lot of that like this season and last. So I have faith. I think we're going to see a much better.
I see progress, but I want more. So
I want more too. I want more just because it's good. It's been good.
Yeah.
Anything more about Rick and Michonne this episode?
Richonne forever!
Hashtag Richonne forever. On that note, if you guys like our content, make sure to subscribe up here in the corner. This corner, pointed the wrong way. And like the Facebook page if you're seeing this on Facebook. Also follow us on Instagram at @RLRichonne. And please check out the blog, thelivingrishonne.com. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. And we will talk to you very, very soon.